On the last video, I quickly mentioned the sockets difference, and I wanted to clarify that this is actually a chipset. Sorry, this was a chipset, not a socket. So X29, X299, and the X399 are actually chipsets. Sockets for the X299 or the X399, for example, were the W. Let me see. Hang on a second. With the S, that's the one. The S. Oh, sorry. Need to click onto that. They were the S W R X 8. So that's a Threadripper socket. That's a similar socket to this. Now that would be used on an X399 chipset, right? That is for AMD chipsets. These ones, you have different chipsets for AMD and different chipsets for a Intel chip. So that's Intel there. The threes and the twos, I built one some years ago. I built one when one of the first Threadrippers came out. It was the 3 series, and the AMD was the 3 series. But the equivalent motherboard that I would have got had I bought an Intel chip was a 2 series. It was a X2 something. I think it was an X299 at the time, to be honest. So there are different chipsets but effectively they're the same. They're different chipsets, but they're the same functionality, should I say, as each other. So there's no difference between an X399 and an X299 other than you put AMD CPUs on one and Intel CPUs on the other, effectively. But I recommend, again, have a look at the sockets. That's a socket. This is also a socket. They are AMD sockets, though. You'll get different ones, different naming conventions. AM4 is a standard socket for AMD, and SWRX8, well, that's a very specific one because they're huge, these Threadrippers. And you'll get standard things for the Intel sockets as well. Sorry, I haven't mentioned any Intel sockets. I just wanted to clarify what the sockets were and on a motherboard and things like that. Again, when we go through buying a computer and building a computer, which I will do on at some point in the course, then we'll look into these things. We'll have a look at the motherboard and see which X29 we want and X399, etc. we want. So yeah, don't worry about that.